Well, hey, you guys. So obviously there are some negative effects of the internet, but one of my favorite things about social media right now is our obsession with routines. So morning routines and skincare routines and cleaning routines and even money-related routines have started to become part of this fad. You know, I see cash stuffing, aka the envelope system, and loud budgeting, aka every dollar and actually budgeting. And so I love all these fads. They're so great. And today I'm sharing my annual investing routine. I'll explain my tried and true philosophy for investing, and I'll share my secrets when it comes to maximizing your investment potential. These are actual things that my husband Winston and I do every month, every quarter, and every year to make sure that we're investing wisely for our family's future. And stay tuned toward the end because I'm going to be sharing one of the things that changed my investment plan. Spoiler alerts, if you're on or approaching baby step 7, you'll want to stick around for this. But first, I want to make sure that we clear a few things up when it comes to investing, a little investing 101, if you will. If you are new to personal finance or you're unfamiliar with the concept of investing, these are just a couple of basics so that we all can get on the same page. So, what is investing? Well, investing is a strategic way of saving your money so that it grows over time. And the way that it's able to do that and to grow is through something called compound interest. And this is where your money makes money. Usually it's in the market and you're able to say, okay, it's going to make a 10% return. Well, the next year, your money doesn't make money on just what you put in. It makes money on what you put in and the 10% return you had the year before. So it keeps compounding and compounding, which means the earlier you start investing, the better off you're going to be, especially when it comes to things like retirement. So after a decade of seeing money growing and expanding on itself, you could see hundreds of thousands of dollars, even millions added to your net worth, which is incredible. And again, it's all because you continued to contribute consistently and let your money grow over time. So why is this an important part of wealth building? Well, because no one wants to get to the end of their careers in their early 60s and realize that they have no financial cushion to carry them through the next phase of life. And if you're a millennial like me, we're all secretly pretending that we could stay in 2013 forever. But the reality is that, listen, life, it keeps going, right? And your job eventually will end and you're going to retire. So a little bit of planning is in order to make sure that you enjoy the last 20 and 30 years of your life. So what does it look like for the average working American? Well, it is best to invest 15% of your income into retirement accounts. These can be things like your 401k or 403b or a Roth IRA. Many companies have benefit packages that include a company match. So if you're able to contribute a certain percentage of your paycheck, your employer will actually match that contribution, which is incredible. Now, if this opportunity is not available to you, look into a Roth IRA because you're able to have full control over that. You can max it out and it's great. So I always say to go up to the match if they have a match and then go to a Roth. So those are what you want to do. Match beats Roth beats traditional is kind of the formula that we use. So when should you start investing in retirement? Well, I recommend investing in retirement after you've paid off all of your debt with your mortgage and you have 3 to 6 months of expenses saved in the bank. And remember, this is what's key about investing is that a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, well, I've lost so much time because of those other things. So yeah, you may lose a couple of years, but for a lot of people, when they're investing, they're only investing, 3, 4%, maybe up to 6% because they have all their other income that they have to use to have some savings over here or to pay off, a car loan or they have a personal loan and their money is scattered. So what you do is pause investing, get that taken care of, paying off your debt and getting a fully funded emergency fund and then press play. And that way you can do 15% of your income into retirement. Okay, now that we've covered the basics, let's get into my investing routine. Well, first and foremost, every January, we sit down with our SmartVestor Pro and we look at everything. We look at the year before, we look at what's coming up, but sitting down with an investment professional, you guys, has been so helpful for us because he's been able to direct us and us see things, even change some stuff throughout the years. And again, they live in this world day in and day out. So that is really key. So that's what we do every January. Now, Winston and I, we have been doing the baby steps, you guys, for 15 years. Okay. So we are on baby step 7. And so what we do throughout the year is we save a little bit, throughout the year. And every single month we save. And so when it comes to January, we try to go ahead and max out our retirement. So up to, a Roth IRA, I think the max is $7,000 or $8,000 this year. So we go ahead and try to max out both of ours. We do that in January. That way it has the full year of growth. And when it comes to our 401k, if we have the money to do it, and again, it's our goal that we do, we go ahead and put all of our money in that and go ahead and max that out. And so that's what we want to do. And that's what we've worked towards. Now, we weren't able to do that early on, which is totally fine. But since we've been able to take our income and save a lot of it throughout the year for things that we want and need, but retirement is one of those things that we do have a priority in our life and in our budget for. So when that January hits, that is what we try to do. If we have to spread it throughout, February and March, we'll do that, but we try to do as much again at the beginning of the year as possible. We do have separate retirement accounts. I have my own Roth IRA. Winston has his Roth IRA. I have a 401k. He has a 401k. I have an HSA. And he has an HSA. And so again, we work on that. So when we talk about combining your accounts, that is one area you don't combine because you can make so much progress when it comes to investing. So those are things that we've done consistently. And again, it's something that it can kind of feel like a black hole. I'm not going to lie, because it is a lot of money that you feel like you're just like putting in these accounts. But here's what I know, and here's why I think it's important even every January to go and look at all the numbers, is to be able to see the growth and not be freaked out about what the market's doing. So I think for some people, they get freaked out by a news story that the market has dipped and they want to go and pull their money out, and they pull it out at the worst possible time. And so really focusing in on not every single day looking at your investments, and I wouldn't even say every single month, but once a year, I think it's good to get this full picture, because again, retirement investing for us, it is so future thinking. We're not worried about what's going on this week, next week, even next year, right? Because the market is going to do this. So again, it puts us in perspective to be able to say we're going to make decisions on the long-term basis versus the short-term. Now let's talk about one thing that we've recently started doing with our investing that's especially helpful for those of you that might be on baby step 7. And this is something called a backdoor Roth. So this is an option for high earners. So a backdoor Roth allows you to avoid Roth IRA income limits when you are converting your non-deductible traditional IRA contributions to a Roth IRA. So again, that Roth IRA, it has a limit of what you can put in. There's also an income limit. So if you make $161,000 as a single or $240,000 as a married couple filing jointly, you do not qualify for a Roth IRA. That's why you can do a backdoor Roth. So in really simple terms, again, get with a financial pro to do this, but you basically open up a traditional IRA, and then through the back door, you can sign that, and then you sign a Roth, and they just convert it over. So it's completely legal, and it works, which is great. They may not have that option forever, ever, amen. So take advantage of it while you can. However, it's not the best option if you fall into one of these categories. If your income doesn't exceed the limits of a regular Roth IRA, go ahead and you just open that. Also, if you need to withdraw your Roth IRA within 5 years of opening it, or you have multiple traditional IRAs, because when you actually roll it over to a Roth, you have to pay taxes. And when you fall under the prorated rules and all of it, it may make it extra challenging. It may not be worth it financially. So again, this is why you want to sit down with an investment professional to look at all of the details. Okay, I know this was a lot, and investing can be tricky. It can be a tedious game. That's why it's really important to start as soon as you can, though, to understand all of this and actually start implementing it. So again, this is why I recommend sitting down with a pro. You can click the link below to get connected with a professional today to start working towards your investment goals, because having somebody in your corner, you guys, is so key. And if you haven't already, check out my episode on 6 ways to earn passive income if you need more margin. All right, guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. So my new favorite movie, like most of America or the world, is Wicked right now. Now, when I saw it for the first time, there was a line that stood out to me immediately, and I think it relates to money. So today, we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about how you can overcome 3 villains of personal finance. And before we start, make sure to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and share this with a friend. Okay, so like I mentioned, the line from Wicked, when Madame Marble says, "Not everyone has the same villain." It got me thinking, Here's the deal, y'all. You kind of rally together if you're kind of going after the same villain, right? There's a villain out there and we're all going after that villain. And we see this in politics, like we see this in different parts of our lives. But when we think about money, I never like to make the villain a person necessarily, right? Yes, are there scammers out there? Are there people that are villains in that world? Sure. But there are industries out there, like billion-dollar industries out there that are coming to take our money. Like their whole goal is to make money off of us. And so I was thinking, what if we all rallied around and we're like, we're going after a villain. That industry, that villain out there, if we can all rally around that, that is when we get on the same page and we actually start talking about, hey, how do we ask questions better when it comes to our money? Hey, should I be a little skeptical here or there? But when you start thinking about an industry-wide villain, I don't know, I thought it was kind of fun. So I want to talk about the 3 villains that I really do believe we should avoid when it comes to the world of financial industries. Number 1, the credit card industry. Yeah, I'm calling them a villain. I am. It's no secret that I'm against living with debt in general, but there are 2 ways specifically, 2 reasons why I think the credit card industry is a villain. Number 1, they will give a credit card to anyone. They really don't vet you. They don't really consider your ability to manage debt. They're not looking out for your long-term good. They are really there to have you maintain debt for your entire life and make payments and then possibly give cards to people that can't make a full payment every month. So now they're paying interest and they're stuck in this cycle of paycheck to paycheck living because they're living off their credit card. And what ends up happening is that those people end up very stressed, very overwhelmed, and trying really hard to get out of it. But it's very, very difficult because, again, the credit card companies find a way to feed a system to you over and over again that eventually causes suffering. I mean, it really does. And so I don't like the idea that they just give it to anyone because they're not looking out for our best interests. Then also, they trick you into thinking that you are winning, right? With all the rewards and the miles and the points and the perks and all of it, it feels like you are winning. When the truth is you spend 12 to 18% more when you're using a credit card versus cash. And all these rewards in the world, don't take away the fact that you are losing money when you spend this way. And so there is something about continuing to live in credit card debt. And I would say this, even if you pay it off every month, what you're doing though is you are spending money in the present without emotionally realizing it. And then at the end of the month, having to pay for your past. And the way you live your life like that with money instead of in the present, like with a debit card, right? That would be the solution. You're using a debit card. It does everything a credit card can do except get you into debt. But when you're using a debit card, you are in the moment. And so what that changes in your psychology and in the way you handle money is massive. But again, they make you feel like you are winning. So those are the ways that I'm like, yeah, I just really think that they are villains in our world today. And listen, a debit card is just as safe as a credit card. And there are companies out there that you can still get some perks while using a debit card. Target's debit card, shout out to them. Even Southwest Rewards, they have a great rewards program if you fly them consistently. Without a credit card, you still get points. You can still get free flights. So there are systems out there that are great when it comes to points. I'm not against that, but I am against this idea of not spending your own money because you end up spending more in order to get those points. The second villain out there, I'm going to say, is the student loan industry. I think that there are some sweet 18-year-olds out there that have signed the dotted line and taken out debt, not realizing emotionally what they are doing. And the student loan industry, they go and they manipulate, I really do believe that, into believing that your life is going to be so much better. And they hand over tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to 18-year-olds to make decisions. And that amount of debt is going to follow them in the future. So these 2 main myths that people are taught is number 1, if you don't go to college, you will not win professionally. That's what is kind of told out there. I think that we're now at a point where we're thinking differently about college. And again, I'm not against higher education at all. I went to college. I'm saving up for my kids to go to college. I think there's a affordable way to do it, a smart way to do it by staying in state, going to community college, all of that. So I'm not against higher ed, but I am against this lie to believe that if you don't go to higher ed, then you're not going to be successful, because we are seeing more and more people out there, whether it's within the trades, whether it's within real estate, whether it's within entrepreneurship, people starting businesses like never before. Like, people are making an incredible living and doing incredible things without higher ed. And so it is possible to win without that. The second myth is that they say student loans are an investment in your future. And the best way to think beyond 22 is to start your future path in college, even if that means taking on a ton of debt. And again, you are 18 when you are doing most of this decision making. You are. And this idea that if you get this degree, again, this is an investment that's going to take you into the future, it's just not as true anymore as it used to be. Yes, it is great to have higher education. Don't hear me say that it's not. But this idea that it is like slotted, that it's all going to work out and it's all going to be okay, is just not the fact. And again, we are seeing this more and more. Students are graduating, they're getting into the job market and being like, oh my gosh, I'm getting paid what starting out? And this is the debt that I took on to get this degree, and it's not ROIing, right? There's no digging into these subjects for some of these students, and then they're stuck with tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loan debt. So I don't like the student loan industry. And there was a whole thing about canceling student loan debt, right? If people were thinking it was that terrible, then why are we still supporting an industry that is continuing to put the future generations deeper into debt? So there is a solution. Again, being smart about college education, go to a community college, right? Go to an in-state school. There are still scholarships and grants out there. Take a gap year and work and save up some money and pay your way through. Like, there are ways to do this that don't entail going to an expensive out-of-state private college, right? And getting a degree in English and that being your life, trying to pay off that debt going forward. So you can make different decisions. And our documentary, Borrowed Future, is incredible because we talk about practical alternatives. And this really lays out the problem that the student loan industry, we believe, is impacting our culture. So I'll put that link of that documentary in the description. So make sure to check that out. All right, before I share our third and final financial villain, I do want to tell you about one of our sponsors, Delete Me. So for 115 million of us, data breaches mean that our info is just out there for anyone to find. And this is like our names, addresses, phone numbers, banks, so much more. And that is why I love and use Delete Me, because they find and remove your information from hundreds of data broker websites that buy, sell, and trade your personal data. So take control of your online privacy with Delete Me. Individual Delete Me plans start as low as $9 a month. So sign up today at joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off, or click the link in the description. All right, the third and final villain, I'm going to say, is the car industry. Now, the car industry villain is primarily emotional because we do have to have cars and transportation, right, in our world today. So I'm not against cars. But there are two ways that they really do manipulate our emotions. Number one is out of fear and necessity. So they really do prey on this desire to be safe, wanting reliable transportation, all of that. And that is all good. Like, yes, we all want safe cars. But that doesn't mean that the only safe car is a brand new car. So there are reliable, safe cars that can exist, I'm going to say, in any budget. If you have $5,000, which is a lot of money, I understand that. But if you save up that, from that point on, you can find some great cars. They're not going to last you forever. I'm not saying that to go buy a $5,000 car. It may last you 18 months, but you continue to save on the side, sell that, put that money together, step up in car, right? But this idea that you have to have a brand new car because that's the only safe car out there is just not true. Number two is ego. They really do prey on our egos when it comes to cars. There's this level of convincing us that we need a nice car for this level of status or belonging. And it's just like, oh yeah, I feel great because I'm driving a nice car and it says something about me. And that is where we've gotten to this point that it's like, oh, I can't drive like an old car or like a not great car because I won't look successful, or whatever the lie is. Our ego plays into this so much. That's why the leasing industry is so fascinating with cars, because you kind of get this temporary fix of like, oh yeah, I have a great, beautiful luxury car, but you end up wasting so much money and it's so expensive. But leasing is that example of like, oh yeah, I can afford this payment, but like it's great and I look great, but you can't actually afford the car. So the ego has to be set aside. And the solution is to save up and pay for your cars in cash. And again, $5,000, that car can get you places. It really can. And then there's even families out there, which sounds extreme to some people. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's so inconvenient, which it is. But some people are a one-car family. There are a lot of people that are in this position where they're like, we hate paying $1,300 on a car payment. I got that DM on Instagram this weekend. $1,300 a month going to a car payment. And it's like, it's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. So some people even go down to a 1-car family, which is wild. Now, if you need some ideas on where and how to start shopping for affordable cars to purchase with cash, make sure to check out my episode 10 Great Cars Under $10,000. So make sure to check it out there. Or if you are listening on podcast, I will leave that link below. All right, you guys, let's go after those villains together. And remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. Well, unfortunately, I can't magically deposit $1 million into your bank account tomorrow. I wish I could, but I can't. But believe it or not, I can offer you some pretty instant relief for whatever financial dilemma you might be facing. And spoiler alert, step 1 is a mindset shift, and step 2 gets a little bit more specific. So stay tuned for all of it, and make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. So I saw a CNBC article the other day, and it got me thinking about how important the mindset is when it comes to your money. We always say around Ramsey that personal finance is 80% behavior. It's only 20% head knowledge. So there's a head knowledge side that you need to know, but mindset is even more than just head knowledge. So not even knowing the facts and numbers, being able to explain what a mutual fund is. So we're not talking about that. But the mindset and the belief and why you do things with money is such a big deal, because that is paired so closely to your behavior. And when your mindset changes, then your behavior is going to change. But it can be tough to sort through your thoughts and your anxieties and kind of get to the other side of worry and doubt. So let's set aside 20 minutes, either daily or weekly, and I want you to do 5 simple steps. You ready? Step 1, write everything down. Write it all down. And this can include your worries, your stressors, your frustrations, financial problems, like whatever is going on that's in your head that is stressing you out, write it down. I will do this on my notes app, sometimes on my phone, because I'm like thinking through this, and it may be even small stressors of like a scheduling thing. And I'm like, oh gosh, am I going to be late here? And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to timestamp it out and just see it out there, because there's something about it getting out of your brain and out on paper to visualize what is going on. So if there's a stress point with your money that keeps coming up over and over and over again, write it down, get it out of your brain, put it down. Now we're going to do other things with it, but that is one of the first steps that you can do. I think alleviate some of it, because again, our minds are so powerful, y'all, and it can magnify things. It causes you to lose sleep. I mean, it does so much. The mind is so powerful. So when you can get it out of your mind and just visually see it out on paper, that's going to be really helpful. Next, I want you to sort that list, all the things that you worry about, into 2 categories: what you can control and what you can't control. Now, some of these are going to be broad. So spending, for instance, is something that you can immediately control. You can say, I feel like I'm overspending. Okay, we can change behavior and change that. Your salary, you may be able to control long-term by making, different decisions, maybe career path or companies that you work at or whatever it may be. But today, you probably can't control that like right this second, right? You can go get a side hustle and maybe go do something new this weekend. But in that moment in today, we can't really change that. So you can put that in one category. Now, others might be more specific of, I don't know if we're going to have money for our kids to go to college or not. You can put that. Maybe everyone on Instagram seems to be traveling all the time, and I feel like I'm just trapped in debt and I'm never going to get out, and it's stressing you out. So being able to actually plot these things of, okay, can I take control of a certain part of this worry? And are there certain worries that are just completely out of my control? And I need to see that. Now, step 3 is once you have it listed, I want you to talk about it, verbalize it in some way. And this could even be taking a walk and praying about it. This could be talking to your spouse about it, talking to a friend. But what you're going to find is money is very emotional. And it's okay to have some feelings about your circumstances. I mean, it may cause a level of sadness and angst. You could even have feelings on the other end of like, okay, no, I'm actually feeling hopeful because I'm actually going to start a plan to deal with some of these things. But please say it out loud. Say it out loud. We talked about visually saying it, but bring someone else in, because I do think when you have people in your life that you can kind of banter and have a conversation with some of the things that you worry about, this could be money or not, that other person has a different perspective, a different story, a different way of looking at the situation. And hopefully they'll be able to empathize with you and actually meet you in some of your stresses and anxiety with it. But they also may be able to help just say a couple of things of encouragement, or they may have a different perspective and be like, it's just not that big of a deal, right? Like, I hear you and I know you're stressing out about that, but like, that's okay. Your kid is 6 months old. We don't need to be stressing about college right now. Like, we got 18 years for that, right? So you just need a good friend or a spouse to kind of get you your perspective back. Now, steps 4 and 5 are going to be the solution part of this conversation and probably what you've been waiting for. But first, I do want to tell you about a solution to protect your family's personal info online, and that is Delete Me. So online scams get more and more advanced by the day. From phishing to harassment to weird AI messages that feel real, you cannot risk your personal info getting leaked to websites that you've never even been to before. So Delete Me does the hard work for you and cleans up your digital footprint. Your family's safety and financial security are way too important to leave exposed. So sign up for Delete Me and take control. Go to joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off, bringing your monthly cost to under $9, or just click the link in the description. Now, another incredible sponsor that exists to serve you, the customer, is Fairwinds Credit Union. So when you are working the baby steps, your bank shouldn't be working against you. This is why I love Fairwinds Credit Union, because they share Ramsey values like getting out of debt and saving for the future, but also they put people first. Their smart checking and savings bundle was designed to line up with the baby steps so you can keep your momentum and continue to build wealth the smart way. So when you're ready to move your money somewhere that supports your financial goals, Fairwinds is what you've been looking for. Just head to fairwinds.org/Ramsey to open your smart checking and savings bundle today. All right, step 4, take small tactical steps towards the change that you want to see. So next to every stressor that you have written down, just put a little plan in place, like just a small thing. What can you be doing? If you're stressed about college savings, just say, all right, today I'm going to open up a 529. Like, I'm going to just do that, right? Or maybe that feels overwhelming, and just say within the next week, within the next month, this is what I'm going to do. Maybe if you want to go on a trip and you're like, okay, I'm going to be out of debt in 17 months and it feels like forever, then plan a vacation maybe 6 months after that to know, okay, once I'm out of debt, I can start saving X amounts. Instead of paying off debt, maybe I can save a little bit while I'm saving for my emergency fund to put as a vacation sinking fund. Or maybe you are debt-free and you have an emergency fund. You just feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck. Well, maybe it's to say, okay, let's look at the budget and take some money out and actually save for vacation, being proactive with it. Maybe it's creating professional goals that you want to achieve in the next year. Maybe you're looking and seeing your salary and you're like, I'm just not happy here. I'm not happy with this. And maybe that kind of sparks an idea of a career change or a shift. And you think, okay, maybe I need to do something or talk to someone who's in this other field that I'm thinking about. Whatever it is, just have one small action item and put it next to each stressor because you're actually starting to solve the problems. Now, in the column of what I can't control, there may not be any solutions because we can't always control the housing market and interest rates and all of that. So there may not be much solution there, but the things you can give a small solution. And step 5 is to have a high-level plan so you know what to attack first. And overall, you guys, your financial plan should be the 7 baby steps. And if you're not doing these are going to help guide so much of the big stressors people have because people feel overwhelmed with debts. They feel overwhelmed because they don't have savings. And the baby steps help solve a lot of those. So make sure to get a $1,000 emergency fund first. Once you do that, you can move on to baby step 2, which is to get completely out of debt, everything but your house. Then baby step 3 is to save 3 to 6 months of expenses. And so those are all done individually. Once you complete all of those, then you can start saving for retirement, 15% of your income, save for kids' college, like we talked about, pay the house off early, put some extra towards the house. And then once that's all complete, you are on to baby step 7, which is just building wealth and continuing to be generous. So having an overall financial plan is going to help. And then even a budget is going to help you with that. Every dollar is an incredible tool when it comes to your budget and your overall financial plan. So they talk through the baby steps, things you can do, small changes you can make to help find margin. But every dollar is incredible. I'll put a link down below. Now, while we're talking about some powerful shifts, you have to check out the 5 powerful ways to redefine wealth. And it's not just about money. That's coming up next. You can click here, or if you're listening on podcast, click the link below. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. So most of us have people in our lives that always seem to be a level ahead when it comes to building wealth and being financially responsible. So we have this over here. And then we also have technology over here, something called ChatGPT. So what do these two things have in common? Well, you're about to find out. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. So we went to ChatGPT to compile a list of habits that people who never overspend swear by. And y'all, I gotta tell you, I was pleasantly surprised. It gave me a list, so I thought it would be fun. Because I went through the list, y'all, and I was like, oh my gosh, I agree with all of these. And so I want to know from you if you agree with them. But here's literally what it said, and I love it. So, number one, they know their why. Yes and amen. So, meaning they know why they're doing something with their money, their motivation. If they're in a season of sacrifice, they know why, they're sacrificing because they have a bigger goal. If they want to get out of debt, they know, okay, why do we want to get out of debt? When they're giving and being generous, they know why, because they want to change their family tree. I mean, they are so motivated by the underneath level, if you will, when it comes to their money, not just always like the numbers and stuff. So that can motivate you for a little bit. But if you don't have that why, when things that are hard in life hit you financially, that why is what carries you through most of it. And so when that came up at number one, I thought, yes. All right, number two, they intentionally track their spending. Okay, y'all, I did not make this up. And I don't think my ChatGPT knows it's like me, Rachel Cruze, that does this. So when it said this, I was like, oh my gosh, yes. So it is true because people don't mindlessly just spend all the time whenever. They really do know what they're spending. And when they spend it, they actually keep track of it. It's not just in their head. They don't have something in their head that they're just okay, I'll figure this out here. No. They're very intentional, and it is incredible. Now, when you track your spending, you can still enjoy it, right? That's the purpose of it all. But I agree with this point 100%. All right, number three, they budget on purpose. There's that budgeting thing. Yeah, so it's not just tracking spending, but they budget. They know where their money's going, which is such a key factor, you guys, of winning with money. Regardless of where you are financially, you need to have a plan with your income. You need to know where it's going, because when you file taxes every year, I don't want you to look at that number and be like, holy crap, I made what? Where is it? Where did it all go? That you know exactly the job your income had when it hit your account, and you know what's going on. Now, if you need a great budgeting app, Every Dollar is wonderful. Make sure to check it out. Number four, they limit credit card use. All right. Limit, I'd say completely do away with, if this is my list. They don't use credit cards, but this idea that they're not going to depend on other people's money to live their lives. And when you stop that, and you actually live in the present, and you use cash or your debit card or Apple Pay with your debit card, whatever it is, and you are actually in the moment, it is incredible that once that purchase is made, you're done. You're done. You're not waiting on some bill to pay everything later. You can continue to look through the windshield of your financial life. And that's what I love. You just have full control, full autonomy, and that credit cards and banks aren't part of your life. All right, speaking of banks and all of that, I do want to tell you about one of our sponsors who offers incredible support as you work the Ramsey plan, Fairwinds. Y'all, when you are in the baby steps, your bank shouldn't be working against you. That's why I love Fairwinds Credit Union. They share Ramsey values like getting out of debt, saving for the future, and putting people first. Their smart checking and savings bundle was designed to line up with the baby steps. When you are ready to move your money somewhere that supports your financial goals, Fairwinds is what you've been looking for. Head to fairwinds.org/Ramsey to open your smart checking and savings bundle today. And also another incredible sponsor that we have is Christian Healthcare Ministries. And they really do help enhance your experience with healthcare coverage. More than 100 million Americans carry medical debt, which shows that traditional coverage is often leaving people with a big bill to face alone. So families need more than coverage. They need community. That's why I love Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM is a budget-friendly, faith-based alternative to health insurance, and they've paid over $12 billion in medical bills. I mean, that is faith in action. With CHM, there are no networks, no insurance headaches, and programs start at just $98 a month. Y'all, CHM is where your faith and your finances agree. So go to chministries.org/budget and learn more today. All right, back to our list. Number 5, they delay gratification. Yes and amen. Y'all, instant gratification is killing us. Like when we see something we want and we just go buy it, we don't think about it, we don't look at our budget, we don't do any of that, we just do it. When that is your life, you end up spending so much money. But delayed gratification shows a level of maturity where you can walk away from a purchase, sleep on it, see if you still want it a day or two later, and then you can go back and buy it. But this is a major perk to win financially. Number 6, they reduce decision fatigue. So the more routines that someone has when it comes to their money, the less kind of impulsive that they're going to be. And so there's like less impromptu shopping trips and all of this because they kind of have this rhythm in place. And I like that. I think that's great. Now, I can be type B at times where I'm like, let's just have some fun and be spontaneous. So you still want part of that in your life. I think that creates some fun. But when you have routines and you know what's going on, like, okay, I check every dollar every morning and I track transactions. I meet with my spouse every month, once a month before the month begins to do our budget. We give on this date. Our tithe goes out from our account to the church this day. I mean, like when you have routines in place, it really does help. All right, number 7, they actively practice gratitude. Yes, it is incredible when you realize that stuff isn't the thing that's just going to bring on more happiness. It's just not. But when you are so mindful and grateful for what you already have, there is gratitude, there is contentment, and all of that. So the fact that this was on the list, chef's kiss. Is that what the kids say? Yeah, I love it. Number 8, they stay off autopilot. So subscriptions, apps, all of that. They try to put friction in these purchases. And so, yeah, I mean, I would say with some of this, I really appreciate. I don't like always the savings autopilot. Like some people are like, I just put my savings on autopilot. There's a part of me that I'm like, no. Do it actually so you can feel it happening and you may want to be saving more or maybe you need to save less. Like, I don't know. There's something about actually going in and doing it. But then also there are things that I think is okay just to be on an auto basis too, right? Like I don't think that's bad. I think that'd be very convenient and to make sure that you're not late on things too. So there's a balance there. Number 9, they regularly unfollow and unplug. So they use social media, but they actively unfollow people who tempt them into comparison or jealousy. They also pay it forward and gut check their motivation with their own posts. So the way they use social media, the way they kind of think about it is in a really healthy way. So I appreciate that. Number 10, they recognize patterns. So if you have tendencies where you start to see, okay, if I'm bored or insecure or I'm busy, and that's a trigger for me to spend, right? Or, you notice like, okay, here's when I do these things that are maybe unhealthy with money or even comparison. Maybe it's a heart thing. And these are the situations that comes up in. They notice that pattern throughout their lives. And that is a really great gut check to know like, okay, here is what I do and why I do it. And then always know you can create new patterns, right? Instead of being stressed and going and spending, you can go on a walk, right? Go and hang out with a friend, journal, like do something, read, like do something else that's better for you than just staying in an unhealthy pattern. So the fact that this list came from ChatGPT, y'all, I mean, I love it. I mean, I think it was so great. I so appreciated it. And I do think it's really factual. So some of these things are more habits, more heart-based. Some are a little bit more tactical. But putting things in place, you guys, to help you win financially is what I want for you. Now, if you want some of my personal tips, not just off ChatGPT, be sure to check out my honest advice to someone who wants financial freedom. You can click here to watch that. Or if you're listening on podcast, you can click the link below. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. All right, millennials and Gen Z, let's just gather together and ask the question, are boomers really at fault for everyone's current financial struggles? Well, today I'm going to be sharing some ways that boomers might be to blame for some of our money problems. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek. Don't worry, boomers. It's fine. And I'll let you decide, though, how legitimate they are. Now, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. All right, the boomers. Everyone kind of loves to hate on the boomers these days. They're like, well, the boomers did this, and the boomers got this when it comes to the economy and everything. And so I'm like, listen, it is true. There's some realities that the boomers may have had it easier than us, or maybe not. And maybe some of the things that they did and the way they lived their lives are affecting us today. So let's jump into the list and see if it's true. All right, the first way that boomers contributed to our current financial challenges is they encouraged us too much. Ready for this? According to the data of the Bureau of Labor Statistics, about 44% of high school graduates born between 1960 and 1964 earned a 2 to 4 year degree, 44%. Now, about 73% of high school graduates born between 1980 and 1984 earned a college degree. So that's almost a 30% increase in just one generation. And boomer parents really did. They were the generation that pushed the millennial kids to go to college. Regardless of the high cost, regardless of student loans, it's like, get yourself a 4-year degree, because for them, it was a really big deal. And for them, a lot of people, they were the first generation or the first person in their family to get a college degree. And then because of loans, it kind of opened up this wide world that most people can apply and most people can get in somewhere, and you don't need the money. You just, get into student loan debt, and we'll figure that out later. So that is an interesting thing to look back on when you see how loans have continued to increase over time. Obviously, because they're more available. You have private student loans, you have government student loans, Sally Mae. But boomers, it's the question, were they the generation to push the millennials into college, regardless if they could afford it or not? All right, reason number 2 that boomers are to blame is they have zero self-care needs. There is always that heated political talk at Thanksgiving, and we always think, Aunt Linda, you may want to go to some therapy. You have some anger issues in there, right? Or Grandpa Joe didn't take care of himself, and you're like, you need to go to the doctor. You need to get that checked out. But no, they don't. Those boomers, man, they pulled themselves up by the bootstraps. And then what happened was the millennials swung the complete opposite direction, and they now are all about the self-care, all about taking care of themselves emotionally and physically, and they will put themselves into different subscription models and different ways, different workouts and diets and all this, and they're going to be on trend, and they're going to take care of themselves in therapy and counseling. It's applauded. It is seen as such a great thing, right? So it's funny, the counterbalance that the boomers could have caused the millennials and Gen Z to swing the other way. I don't know. Are they to blame or are they not? Who knows? All right, before I share the surprising history of debt, I do want to tell you about one of our sponsors, Fairwinds. When you're working the baby steps, your bank shouldn't be working against you, which is why I love Fairwinds Credit Union. They share Ramsey values, and their smart checking and savings bundle was designed to line up with the baby steps. It is so easy to set up, you guys. Winston and I sat down on the computer, created an account in like 10 minutes or less. We even got a phone call the next day from them to verify that everything went smoothly. Their customer service is amazing. So if you are ready to move your money somewhere that supports your financial goals, head to fairwinds.org/Ramsey to open your smart checking and savings bundle today. Now, another must-have resource that I also use is Delete Me. So if you don't remove your personal data from the internet, you're basically asking for your name, your address, your email, even your kids' names to be out there on sketchy data broker websites. And that puts you at risk for scams and fraud, but Delete Me removes your data to help protect you from phishing, harassment, and other online threats. Your family's safety and financial security are way too important to leave exposed. So go to joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off, bringing your monthly cost to under $9, or just click the link in the description. All right, number 3, keep blaming the boomers. All right, boomers, maybe they normalized relying on debt. So you see, in the early 1900s, borrowing money for consumer goods was considered irresponsible and even immoral. But after the Great Depression, which is what many of the boomers' parents lived through, it became necessary and eventually more accepted as an option. So the boomer generation really kind of was the first big generation to say, yeah, we will take on debt. Credit cards became a big thing. Like if you remember that, even in the 90s when it was like a chick, like even the machines, right? I mean, like all of it kind of started happening, and the boomers were there, happy to take on the car loans, the credit cards, all of it. And so now, as millennials and Gen Z, debt is so normalized. I don't know. And the question is, I don't know, are the boomers to blame for normalizing debt in our society? I don't know. What do you think? Now, if you are in debt and you want to get out of debt, the best way to do that is to pay off your smallest debt to your largest debt. So again, we're kind of tongue-in-cheek here with the boomers, but for real, if debt is something that you want to get out of, that is the most efficient way to do it. And to have a budget, Every Dollar is a great app to help you get organized and started with all of your money goals. I'll put a link down below, but for real, getting this in order is huge. So whether you're a boomer or not, getting out of debt is so powerful. All right, number 4, boomers took all the good quote unquote forever homes they bought with 4 apples and 4 pennies. You know, we always joke that it's like, oh yeah, the boomers bought their homes for basically nothing. And here we are with the craziest housing market is what it feels like. A lot of drama around it. And so we complained, about sharing a bathroom with all of our siblings or even a 1 bathroom for the entire house, like in the 90s. But now millennials would do anything to inherit that mauve tile. You know what I mean? Like we look at those houses and we're like, yes and amen. Yes and amen. We just want to be homeowners, right? There's so many people out there and they want to get in the housing market. And the boomers were able to get in, quote unquote, fairly easily, we would all say. But I don't know. I guess we can't really blame them for the housing market, though, let's be honest. But for real, buying a home, it does need to be part of your financial plan, but I want you out of debt with an emergency fund and with at least a 5% down payment to do that. And we, again, joke about the boomers and when they bought their homes, but for real, y'all, putting the drama aside, you look at it and like, okay, this is where we're at. This is the reality. So now what are we going to do with this reality that's been given to us? Which means we're probably have to change some expectations, make some different decisions around home ownership, maybe the time frame at which you buy a home or where you buy a home. But overall, home ownership is fantastic. It just may take a little bit longer and the expectations may be a little different. And I will say this, millennials and Gen Z, we do have high expectations. Not many people want to go buy a house with a 1 bedroom, with a 1 bathroom in it. Not everyone does with a full family, but in the 90s and the 80s, oh yeah, that was the life. All right, number 5, boomers are too content. So, the vacations that those boomers took and took us on as millennials, we're not extravagant, right? I mean, it was like camping and maybe Disney once in your lifetime. Like it was that feeling. They never took HELOCs out to install hardwood floors. I mean, they are pushing 70 and they're still working at that same job that they've been at forever and ever and amen. They're a very content generation, I would say. They are not ones like the millennials who are trying to keep up with the Joneses as much. The millennials were big into that. Gen Z, not as much, we're seeing with the trends. But it is fascinating that, again, their life, when you look really at the lifestyle of the 80s, pretty modest compared to today. When you look at the average square foot of a home, the aesthetics of even what's inside the home, the vacations, the cars, all of it. Now, there are some exceptions. There are some boomers that were still very bougie even then. But for the most part, lifestyle expectations were much lower, I would say, than today. So those content boomers out there, we see you. Now, again, this was supposed to be fun. We don't blame you boomers for real. It's just kind of fun to poke at. But there are some really crucial money lessons that we can learn from those boomers, the good and the bad. So make sure to check out my episode at 7 money lessons from boomers, wins and regrets. I will put a link down if you're listening on podcasts, or you can click right here. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love. All right, I hate to be the bearer of boring news, but the key to almost anything you wish that you could change about your life is discipline. Yeah. Getting back in shape, growing spiritually, healing your marriage, you guessed it, even building wealth. So there are 6 simple ways to become more disciplined with your money, and we're going to chat about those. So make sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode with a friend. All right, one of the great ways to stay disciplined, especially when it comes to spending money, because when you spend money, that means you don't have it, which means it's harder to build wealth when you don't have that money. Number 1, wait 24 hours before making a purchase that you didn't plan. This is big, you guys. This is so big because when we go to buy something, even if it's small, big, I don't care, but like anything over $20, just wait a day. Just wait a day. Because we always kind of joke in our world, because it's true. Like you walk into Target, you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I spent $100. Like I didn't even know I needed all of this, right? Or you're somewhere, you're shopping online and you're like scrolling Instagram. You're like, oh my gosh, that is such a cute sweater. Okay, yeah, I'll buy it, $60 or whatever the thing is. Just stop. If you're not planning on it, just wait a day. Now, if the day's over and it's the next day and you still want it and you have the money for it, that's great. I see this in myself, but it's so funny even watching my kids, because my middle is our spender of the kids and she's like me. Like I get her so much. But literally she was like, I want a trampoline, Mom. And I was like, yeah, we're not going to buy a trampoline. No. And so she went on Amazon. She got my phone. Bad parenting boundaries, I know. But she like goes on Amazon. She'll click the little mic thing. So she'll talk into it because she can't like fully spell out words. And she was like, trampoline. And so then one of the mini trampolines came up and it was like $29.99. She's like, this is what I want. I have the money. I'm going to buy it. I was like, no, we are not buying a mini trampoline just because you suddenly wanted a trampoline. We're going to wait a day. I said, we're going to wait a day. I kind of was pushing for 2 days. And y'all, literally the next day, she's like, I don't want it. I was like, okay, good. This is why we wait. Mini trampolines or not, just wait 24 hours. Because when the excitement dies down, your emotions die down, then reality comes into play and you actually start thinking logically, even as a second grader. All right, number 2, check your bank account every day. Have this discipline and know what is in your bank account. Because if you don't know what is going on with your money, that's a major problem because you don't know where your money's going or how much you have or what's going on. And so it is wild to me, the number of people that kind of like just want to put their head in the sand, like, I don't want to know. Because there's those people. And then on the other side of the spectrum, there's the people that are obsessed and they're checking the stock market every single day. And they're looking, at their day trading and they're obsessed and they're up and they look at money all day, every day. I mean, it's just wild. And I'm like, no, not that either, right? There is a balance here. But you do want to shift your awareness to know, okay, how much cash do I have available? Like what is going on with my money? And so being able to know that and be in a rhythm of checking your money and knowing what is going on is going to be huge. And a budget can definitely help with that and definitely can help with number 3, which is track your transactions. So when you do set a budget, knowing where your money's going and being able to track and know exactly from like specific categories even is so helpful to winning with money and building wealth, because a lot of people feel like, I don't have a ton of margin and I don't really know what to do here. And I need some extra money to be able to invest and to save, but I don't know where it's going. But when you actually track and know exactly what you spend your money on throughout the month, you're able to really assess, look back and say, okay, what is needed and what is not. Now, if you need a great budgeting app, Every Dollar is amazing because you're able to track within that app, which is so fantastic. And you're also able just to keep a pulse of currently what is going on with your money. So I can look right now on my Every Dollar app and I can know exactly how much we have in our grocery budget. And so that's it. You can see a real-time live picture of your money, which is so key. All right, number 4, cut convenience spending. So this is not forever, but if you're trying to get out of debt, if you're trying to save for an emergency fund, this is a great place to do it, because when you can cut out non-essentials for just this season, that is a way to really free up some of your spending. But if you think about it, food delivery services, memberships and subscriptions, rideshare apps, Amazon, all of these things that are so convenient that you can get what you want when you want it, you end up paying a premium for those. And they're not a bad thing. Later on, if you want to put them back into your budget and spend your money on that, that's great. I love convenience spending. It's awesome. But when you're just starting out, trying to get your feet up under you and trying to get out of debt and trying to get an emergency fund, the early baby steps, 1 through 3, this is key. This is a great way to free up some money. Now, one subscription that's affordable and saves you time and money in the long run is Delete Me. So online scams have gotten so advanced lately, from phishing to harassment to AI-generated messages that feel totally real. You can't risk your personal info getting leaked to websites that you've never even been to. So Delete Me does the hard work for you and cleans up your digital footprint. If you don't remove your personal data from the internet, you're basically asking for your name, address, email, and even your kids' names to be out there on sketchy data broker websites, because your family's safety and their financial security are way too important to leave exposed. Go to joindeleteme.com/Rachel for 20% off their annual plans, bringing your monthly cost to under $9, or just click the link in the description. All right, number 5, be disciplined to talk about money. This is within your marriage, with your kids, even your extended family, trusted friends. Get comfortable with your money goals, maybe sharing the process that you're in. There's something about creating not just accountability, but even awareness around the people that you're around a lot about where you are with money. Because some of the decisions you make in life may in turn kind of affect them in the sense of like, okay, hey guys, we're all going to go out to eat on Friday night. And if you're trying to get out of debt and you're like, no, we basically have cut most restaurants out of our lives to save money, then you're not going to be able to go. But you could say, yeah, if your friends know this and then you offer your home, be like, yeah, but everyone bring something and let's do something at our house, then everyone's aware. And they're like, oh yeah, totally. And so there's something about that I think is so refreshing. Number one, because most people don't talk about money. I'm not saying you have to talk about like specific dollar amounts if you don't want to, but just this picture of being able to let people into this part of your life actually can bring them hope. Because if you are on a plan and you actually have a level of control with your money, you do a budget, you're maybe doing the baby steps. There's so many people in our lives that are just out there and they don't know what they're doing. They have no control, and just watching you and seeing you and even hearing you can be really inspirational to them. So I think there's a lot of positives all around when you're able to talk about money and feel comfortable about it. All right, number 6, if you don't have the money, don't buy it. Sounds like a no-brainer, I know. But the minute you start looking to see, okay, how can I actually just afford the payments, maybe not the whole thing, then that mindset is going to leave you stuck in a cycle of debt for the rest of your life. So avoid debt, only spend with money that you have. It's that simple. It's a pretty simple boundary to put up, but a lot of people feel like they're not able to do that. And then when you don't feel like you're able to do that, you're going to look at other options. And usually that option is debt, whether it's car loans or credit cards or student loans. But when you just say, I'm not going to do it, it's not an option. It forces you to be creative. I got this question on Instagram the other day, and this mom was like, hey, my kids are going to college and there's just no other option but them going into debt. So what would you advise? And I'm like, well, there are other options, right? They could take a year break, have a gap year and work and save money. They could apply for tons of scholarships and grants. They can go to a community college. And in some states, it's free for the first year or two. Like there are other options out there, but you have to force yourself sometimes to be black and white on an issue to then get creative and think of other options. So, man, it is so tough though. I know it's so tough, but create that principle in your life because it's going to help you down the road. Now, I also have a few more small habits you need to try. So check out my episode 9 Tiny Habits that actually improved my life and money. You can click right here, or if you're listening on podcast, click the link below. All right, you guys, remember to take control of your money and create a life you love.